Hello and welcome to episode 312 of Sutton Impact Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill, and let's go right. We had the WNBA championship last night. WNBA, listen to me. The NCAA Women's Final Four last night, where LSU won the national championship, beating Caitlin Clark in Iowa.
Yeah,
So we had a little controversy, and the controversy kind of got racist.
it got real
As
racist.
some things tend to do, but my opinion is I don't like when somebody does that to show somebody up either way. I just don't like it. But that's me. But I don't think, I think Caitlin Clark did it, and I think this girl did it. Angel, what's Angel's last name?
Oh, I should know. I just flaked on it just now.
Reese.
Angel Reese, yeah.
But she took it further than anybody I've ever seen take it in her press conference.
Yeah.
And she just said, you don't like me because I'm too ghetto, but I'm who I am. I'm going to be true, and that's what I do, and I'm stuck up for my girls. But I see her point.
Yeah.
So I can accept her point. I don't like it, but I can accept her point. I'm not like one of those people that say, oh, she's just classless. No, it's not classless. What was going on in the game is what's going on in a lot of games. I mean, there's not a lot of difference between the you can't see me and the you're not big enough.
Yeah.
You see every NBA game now.
Yeah. And I saw some former WNBA players that are on ESPN made some great points. That Caitlin Clark did the "you can't see me" multiple times this tournament, so throwing it back in her face. And then a lot of people, besides the racist part, like she was like the WNBA players said so many men tell them it's not feminine when women do things like that, and that there's a sex element to it as well, where it's like, we're competitive, we're playing on the highest level, we're doing all this stuff, and like, yeah, we do a little trash talking, just like Jordan and Bird and all the greats, but you want to have this double standard that we can't do it because we're women, and I get that side of it too.
I think they should just do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, and
Caitlin Clark, she's got a shot like Steph Curry. I can't believe how far she could shoot. I can't believe how she could get her shot off sometimes. But I mean, that team was absolutely. Even though she had 30 points last night, that team was way too reliant on her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you said she was responsible for 70-something% of the points in the prior game, right?
Yep, 75%.
Yeah, and we'll eventually talk about the Mavs and Luka and go back to the Harden teams. Like that formula, it just doesn't work.
Well, interesting enough, if you look ahead, that whole LSU team comes back.
Yeah.
All right. South Carolina comes back except for a few players. Iowa comes back except for a couple players. And, if I'm sitting there right now in the transfer portal, some of those alternatives look pretty good, don't they?
They do. They look great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was LSU's.
If I'm a post player and I see how many times Iowa runs a pick and roll with Caitlin Clark,
Yeah.
I'm thinking this might be a good place for me to go because they're going to be overly concerned with her, and I'm going to get my points.
No, that's a excellent point. I guess we should talk about the real controversy, which was the refs were terrible. I mean, both ways, but
Refs were terrible, and they, and it was crazy. Like the first quarter, all the fouls were on Iowa.
yeah.
And there was a point in time where it was like 6-0 foul wise, and then the second quarter like reversed it. Like, oh my God, we didn't call enough fouls on LSU, so we better call a bunch of fouls. And they called a bunch of ticky-tack fouls in the second quarter.
Yeah. And
And then the technical call on Caitlin Clark was absolutely horrendous. Absolutely one of the worst calls I've ever seen. I mean, this is a national championship game. You can't make that call a technical to give somebody their fourth personal.
No.
Just let the game be decided on the floor.
And especially because I wasn't
I don't know if those were the three best referees either. I don't know what the selection criteria is for the referees, but I tell you what, you better have your three best referees working those games, no doubt. I mean, I was very disappointed in officiating. It was inconsistent, and they were too involved. We always say it's a great officiated game if you don't pay attention to the referees. But if you focus on the referees, then it's a poorly officiated game.
Yeah, and especially when both teams say it was poorly. Both teams are mad about the officiating. Like, it's not really a win-win. That's a lose-lose-lose because the audience doesn't like that either.
No.
But, I mean, just like with the World Baseball Classic, like this was a highly watched women's Final Four.
Yes,
So
the best women's Final Four in my lifetime.
and as you pointed,
You know what I compare it to? I compare it to the 1979 Magic versus Bird.
oh, nice.
That's where I saw it, and that really juiced up March Madness on the men's side. And this is going to be, what it is. I just hope, though, make this my business moment. Now they're starting to think, oh wow, people paying $400 to get in that game. Well, they're paying $400 because it was in a basketball arena, not a football stadium.
Yeah.
If you move it to a football stadium, you're going to pay football prices, but you're going to make more money because there's more seats to sell. But I always go back to the same thing. Why isn't Fenway Park 50,000? You can sell 50,000 tickets at Fenway Park every game.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
But they don't. And the reason why is keep demand higher than supply. Basic economics.
Yeah.
Keep people wanting more. And don't screw this up. So if they screw this up, put the women's Final Four in a football stadium. I mean, I don't even go to the men's Final Four anymore after the last time I went because it's not like being in a basketball game.
No, it's not. And I guess you pointed out something also that's going to be good for the women next year is that the men is missing, and that's that Caitlin Clark and Iowa are back next year. Reese and LSU are back next year. Characters I know, coaches I know, where the men's tournament doesn't have that. I mean, we talked offline about Victor Wembanyama and his incredible shoot a three-pointer, get the rebound in the air and dunk it. He's not even in the NBA, or he's not even in the college basketball tournament. And your best players either are there for a year and gone. So we don't have any, like, I'm excited. Like, I would love to see LSU Iowa next year in the tournament, right?
Yeah, and I would like to see Connecticut make the Final Four with Paige Buckets being back.
Yeah.
Because she missed the whole year.
Because narrative is an important part of sports, and that's what men's college basketball has just lost. And I'm not saying it's I mean, it's good for the players. Obviously, they get to go to the pros earlier. And, you have more alternatives. You can play in a developmental league. You can go overseas, and it's, more opportunity is great. But it does hurt the tournament. Because, like I said, next year, I don't know any of the storylines going into the men's tournament. But I know all the women's storylines, and they're all great.
And you think about it now, I mean, I don't know how much Caitlin Clark was making in her NIL deal.
Yeah.
I think she can make a lot more money now.
You'd hope so. Yeah.
And Angel Reese is only a sophomore.
I know. And there's got to be some smart branding people out there.
We have a budding rivalry.
Yeah. Built on, good story, great players, and good controversy. I mean, you got all of it going in, so.
I mean, I would love to see the Final Four next year be South Carolina, Connecticut, Iowa, and LSU.
And I'm sure the NCAA and TV markets want that as well.
That'd be good. That'd be a good story. Well, what are you thinking tonight for the men's game?
We talked offline. I hope it's a good game. I mean, that South Carolina buzzer beater was fantastic. I was rooting for FIU or FAU, but either team winning would be great. But I think it's going to be one of those games, even if it's like a 6-point game or an 8-point game at the end of the score. I feel like Connecticut's going to be like a wire to wire. You never really worry that the other team's in it. They're just, I think they just have a lot more talent.
Yeah, and that's what we've had so far in the tournament. Connecticut's won by double digits every game. I think they're favored by 8 tonight. But San Diego State has, they took down Alabama.
Yeah.
And they haven't disappointed. I thought Florida Atlantic was a really good team.
They were fantastic.
They weren't physically talented as much as San Diego State was.
No, and it's a bummer they had that big lead, and then,
Yeah, I mean, that was a big lead to blow.
Yeah. I think it was it ranks in the top 20 biggest leads blown in a Final Four game ever, which is a real bummer for them. But, congratulations, San Diego State. But like I said, tonight, we'll talk about it next week, maybe. But I don't see a path for South Carolina. Both teams play, they're great games.
Yeah. Well, let's stay in basketball. Let's talk about NBA.
Okay.
So it looks like the Lakers are going to be in the playoffs.
It really does.
So, I mean, that's good drama. It's good drama. Phoenix hasn't lost since Kevin Durant started playing.
Right.
7-0. He looks really good. It's rare that you can take one guy, put him on an established team, and he fits and blends in that quickly, and it works.
But he has his entire career. His first day at Golden State, like he just fits in. He just does.
Which is funny because he keeps saying he wants to go somewhere and be the guy, yet when he goes somewhere, he isn't the guy, and he just fits in.
Yeah, and he's awesome at it. I'm excited.
He probably is the guy in Phoenix.
Yeah.
He and Devin Booker are 1-2, I guess. 1A, 1B.
Well, while the
Lakers fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, while the Lakers are, almost in a 6 seed, only half a game behind Golden State right now for the 6. It'd be out of the play-in. The Pelicans, the Timberwolves, and the Oklahoma City Thunder are now going to be in the play-in game, with the Mavericks on the outside looking in right now.
And I had never thought that.
No.
In the beginning of the year. I mean, Luke is a great, great, great player. And I mean, this is sad.
Yeah.
It's sad that people get deprived of see Luka in it. It's like almost like the Mike Trout thing.
Mm-hmm.
That one of your greatest players in the league isn't showcased in the postseason because his team doesn't make it. It's a shame.
It is. And like we talked offline, I keep thinking back to LeBron and the Cavs, where the Cavs drafted LeBron James, one of the best players of all time. He came out of the gates, was dominant, and he was ready to win a championship pretty much from the start. He walked on an NBA court. But they rushed the team-building process, traded away all their assets, ended up with a lot of veterans that couldn't hang, and LeBron James left. Now, he eventually went back and won a chip. But, if you're the Mavs right now, if you lose Kyrie, or if you bring Kyrie back, you hardly have any of your draft picks. You don't have much cap room, and more importantly, there's not a lot of free agents. So, and then you obviously have teams like Memphis and New Orleans and Oklahoma City that are packed with first-round picks they can trade away. So, even if a player becomes available, the odds of him ending up in Dallas, it's pretty slim. They just don't have they don't have any assets to go get anybody.
No, and it strikes me strange too. It just seems like everybody thinks that Mark Cuban walks on water and he's really edgy and really cool, and everybody wants to go there, but nobody goes there.
No,
nobody goes to sign a free agent contract in Dallas.
It's true. It's very, very true. I know they have great team facilities, so.
They've got great facilities and no state income tax.
Yeah, I mean, and it's Dallas. It's not a small city. That's a fun,
No, and Dallas is just rated by Sport Business Journal as the best sport market in the country.
Yeah. And you got the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, you've got stuff there. It's not San Antonio. It's not Oklahoma City. It does make a lot of sense. Yeah. And then in the East, it looks like the Bulls are going to be in the tournament, who were playing really well.
And they're not that great.
But our favorite quote of the week was Pat Bev's, the Lakers tried to use me as a fork, but I'm a spoon. The Bulls using me as a spoon. Now we're winning. Or something along those lines. And he's been great since he's been there, as a spoon. Yeah. And I like that Russ has been playing well for the Clips while Paul George has been out. That's just been nice to see, as we've been a big pro Russ fan.
Yeah. So, I'm not ready to do our NBA playoff picks right now. We're probably still a week, let's let the season end and see where we shake out. But it's gonna be interesting. I mean, there's nights the Celtics look unbeatable. There's nights the Bucks look unbeatable.
And the Sixers.
But then there's nights when they look really beatable.
I mean, that Cavs-Knicks series, I'm excited for that series. Because that one looks like it's almost locked in at this point. And I just, that looks like a fun series to me. And if it remains...
It'll be nice. It'll be nice to have the Knicks back in the playoffs. Hopefully playing a meaningful role. Yeah.
And speaking of Dallas and they're not good, I mean, they let Jalen Brunson walk, and he's been phenomenal this year. And I would love to see Golden State hop over the Clippers, and then we get Phoenix Golden State in round 1 too. I think that'd be a fun, you know,
That'd be a real fun one.
because that's something I think we all want to see. And again, as long as AD is playing like this, if I'm the Nuggets, if I'm the Grizzlies, if I'm the Kings, I want nothing to do with the Lakers right now. You know, the Austin Reeves experience, LeBron James in the playoffs, they turned that around pretty well, I think. But again, you need Anthony Davis to be healthy, which is, you know, a whole other thing.
Yeah, which really is a whole other thing, because he could be healthy for 2 weeks and then not healthy for 2 weeks.
Yeah, the odds of him staying healthy for 3 straight series seem very slim.
Yes, almost non-existent. And really, the way LeBron's been playing, and he's been hurt so much this year, same thing.
Yeah. Like I said, because again, for all the crap Russ took, it's like this team kind of ebbs and flows with Anthony Davis. LeBron went there to play with Anthony Davis, right? That was the whole point of like, now I'm going to play with this transcendent young big that can do it all, but all didn't include standing on the court.
No.
I guess we have one big NFL story. You've seen the league already talking about flexing Thursday night games, right?
Yeah.
And J.J. Watt and a number of players have come out and said, well, that's exactly a terrible idea. And I don't think the players are going to win that one, sadly.
No. And you know what? The players don't like Thursday night.
No, I don't like Thursday night.
Because you're coming off a Sunday game usually.
Yeah.
And that gives you four days.
Yeah.
And then you get a big break at the end of it. You get like 11 days, but it's going from nothing. That 4-day thing is a killer thing, and it's tough to recover and tough to do it. I don't like it either, and I almost think that, you know, just lengthen the schedule by a couple weeks, and if you play a Thursday night game, maybe you get a bye the next week, or you get a bye a week before leading into Thursday night game.
Something, yeah.
You know?
Well, that'd be perfect. If you got a bye leading into the Thursday night game, then you play the following, then you don't play Sunday, you play the following Sunday, then you get a buffer on both sides.
Yeah, if you want the Thursday night games to be good, you got to do this. I mean, Thursday night games are notoriously bad.
And I think as JJ, yeah,
and bad performances.
And as Watt pointed out, like, times are tough economically. Like, you flex out a game on people set their schedule on going to this Thursday night, Arizona Rams game, and all of a sudden that's no longer a Thursday, gets flexed till Sunday, and people, rearrange their work schedule and their time to be able to go to the Thursday game. Now they can't. Now it's not even a Thursday game.
No, and then you got teams like Las Vegas that still draws a lot of people from Oakland and LA.
Yeah.
Raiders fans. And now you're going to take them, on a Thursday. You move them from Sunday to Thursday. It's just a mess. Come on with a schedule at the beginning of the year and stick to it.
Yeah.
Let everybody plan out. Let everybody do what they're going to do.
And again, I would rather see them, extend Sunday. Give me a 10 a.m. East Coast game. I don't know. Do something. I mean, if you need, I know the television, you're trying to compete with the television revenue, and it's hard to beat a live sporting event on a Thursday night, which is why the NFL doesn't want to let it go, and they want to make it as good as possible. People keep bidding as much money as possible. And as we pointed out, nothing the NFL does or the players do seems to affect ratings and watching. But it's the golden goose. Like, you've already got the golden goose. Like, this doesn't. I don't think this helps your product. Or does that? I mean, it obviously just makes them more money, so they don't give a shit. But I don't know. It's never done much for me. I liked everything being Sundays and then one Monday night game. I thought was perfect.
Well, while we're on the Thursday night, while we're on the NFL kick, let's talk about Lamar.
Okay.
We talked about offline, and like I said, a lot of speculation now. If he doesn't get what he wants, he's going to sit out a year. And, I said it when Le'Veon Bell sat out. You can sit out. You're never going to make up the money you lost by sitting out.
And I don't know if
he was only going to lose $12 million.
And I don't know if you watched,
going to lose $33 million.
And you watched Deshaun Watson, who involuntarily set out for a year. There's a lot of rust, right?
A lot of rust. And Le'Veon Bell came back. He left as one of the best running backs in the league. He came back as a a third down back that couldn't get on the field half the time.
And Deshaun Watson,
sad.
yeah, Deshaun Watson did not look good sitting out a year.
No.
But as people have pointed out, if you're another team like the Colts, the Titans, or any top 10 team, you'd much rather wait till after the draft to make the offer, right?
Because one thing you don't want to do is give up this year's picks, because if you're getting Lamar, you want somebody for him to throw to, or you want somebody to protect him.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you have the pieces, just like the Jets don't want to give up that 13th pick for Aaron Rodgers. They want to give up something else.
Exactly. And if
you
you're
add to your position, you don't want to, the worst thing you can do is make a trade that makes you better in one place and worse in another place.
Yeah. And, if you're bringing in Lamar, you assume you're going to be better next year, so you're giving up a much less valuable pick. So, it just makes a lot of sense. But as we also talked, the Ravens currently have Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley. As weird as it is to say that, but he is a Pro Bowler technically. But they haven't really done a lot to address their team other than waiting for Lamar to come back. So if you're another team, it's like, why am I going to do all the Ravens' work, give them the best offer possible, and the Ravens are just going to match? Which all indications seem to be that they will, unless they get blown away.
And I think if somebody offered him $230 million, an offer sheet for $230 million a year, 75% of it guaranteed.
Yeah.
The Ravens would jump on that.
Oh, of course. And as people have pointed out, Deshaun Watson did not ask for a fully guaranteed money.
No.
He told the Browns he didn't want to play for them, and the Browns came back with the most ridiculous offer ever, where Deshaun Watson was like, well, I guess I have to now. And that's when teams like the Falcons didn't try to match that offer, which I'm sure people went back to other teams, and nobody wanted to match that offer, right?
Right.
So, whether or not, he seems like, it's hard not to be a better person than Deshaun Watson. You could argue whether or not, he's a better player when, they're both full go, but nobody's given up that kind of money for him. And
no.
And I did see something else too. Like when you're in negotiations, one of the reasons you have an agent is so that the team can tell you, well, you've been hurt here, and it's not personal because they're just talking to your agent. Whereas if it's you in the negotiations, then it's going to get even more personal and nasty because, when you're explaining why you're not going to give them all the stuff, you're basically telling the person in their face what you think is wrong with them. So.
Which is an interesting way of looking at it. I didn't think about it that way. That's a good point.
Yeah, which again, it just seems like that makes it real awkward, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll move us on to baseball.
Okay.
I like the speed up rules. I like the game. The games they're not as fast as the spring training games. They're about 20 minutes less than they were last year. But hopefully they'll continue to improve on and get better. But kudos to them, though, because now every team plays every team.
Yeah.
And so everybody will get to see Ohtani and Mike Trout either in their market or through their television network. So I'm happy about that. As a Pirate fan, we're 1-2, so I don't see any significant improvement. It just seems like same old to me. Can't hit. They occasionally pitch well.
Yeah. Yeah. The World Baseball Classic, as excited as I was to talk about it last week, I did not pay attention to any baseball this week. So.
No, and again, you had shitty weather again.
Yeah.
And it always blows me away. Again, I watched the Pirates and the Reds on opening day, and the next day they announced 22,000 people, and I'll guarantee you there weren't 12,000 people.
Ooh.
So they've got to figure out this game, too. And I just think you just do something where you take it out of the ticket plan so nobody pays for it, and you make it free. You sign up for it on the internet. You sign up on the website. They get your data information. You get to go to the game, and then they get the concessions and parking revenues. Because they don't make it anything on game 2 anyhow.
Yeah.
You got to do something. You got to do something different. It just blows me away every year. The only Padres were exception. They averaged 40,000 the second game.
But you're in.
Excited about the Padres. They spend a lot of money.
Yeah, the Padres have rewarded their fans by spending all the monies, and then it's also San Diego, so the weather's so beautiful. Like sitting in the stands is just it's a lovely day outside. Yeah, I guess do we offer congratulations to the WWE? who are now paired with
Yeah, the
UC.
WWE UFC merger.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
it is. There's already been a lot, you got guys like Brock Lesnar, Shayna Baszler, Ronda Rousey. Like, you've had a lot of back and forth, guys that have come and gone and, bring those people in. Clearly, the UFC learned a lot about, Ewan McGregor. I mean, not Ewan McGregor, that's the actor. Conor McGregor, acts like a WWE wrestler already. So I feel like you've got it just makes a lot of sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense to put them all together and see what they do.
Yeah. Because like I said, you can build personalities and bring them from UFC into WWE. You can have a couple, crossover events every year. I think it makes sense. It's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got a food moment or two.
I do. I think if you're new to our podcast, you don't know, I live in Louisiana, New Orleans, and we went to a Cajun meat store, and we bought a rabbit. Not a full rabbit. I mean, obviously ready to eat rabbit. And I grilled it today. And as I told my dad offline, if it was a Last of Us end of the world situation and I found a rabbit in the wild and ate it, I would be excited. But I don't think I would pay for one again. There's a lot of bones in a rabbit, and parts of it still taste very gamey, and I have very city taste as far as my meat goes, I guess. We didn't grow up as hunters,
No.
And then my second one comes with a caveat of Dogtown Pizza, which, as I told you about, had just been all over my social media. I'm not sure how it even showed up there, but I like pizza, so that's probably where it came from. But Dogtown, which is available in a lot of grocery stores, it's a frozen pizza from St. Louis. And having lived in St. Louis and eaten a lot of St. Louis pizza, this is the authentic St. Louis pizza experience. Now, having said that, it is cracker thin crust and it is Provel cheese. And Provel cheese you do not like, right?
I don't like it at all.
No. It's a very unique cheese experience, and we'll just leave it at that. It's a combination of provolone, mozzarella, and cheddar, I think.
I think that's right.
And it's got like a smoky-ish flavor. It's got some tang to it, which, again, tangy cheese, you can take it or leave it. And then it has a quality where it always tastes melted and feels melted. No matter if you get it right out of the oven or an hour later, it still feels melted, the cheese. Which is,
Yeah, I've always said it comes across as kind of like Teflon.
Yeah.
A little slimy.
But, normally if you want to experience St. Louis style pizza outside of St. Louis, you'd have to go to like a Gold Belly and get Emo's pizza. And you're going to pay like $50-$60 probably, right? On a good day at Gold Belly for that? With shipping and...
You probably get two for that, yeah.
Yeah.
But still paying like $30 a piece probably.
Yeah. Whereas if you find Dogtown and you're interested in St. Louis pizza, like I said, it's under $10, and it's hard. Like I said, I stress again, it's really well done St. Louis frozen pizza. It's just St. Louis frozen pizza. So.
Fair.
Yeah. Did you have any food this week?
I went back to Casa di Stefano and I ate chicken parm. And the chicken parm was nowhere near as good as La Terrazza.
Oh, that's the best chicken parm available. It just is.
Yeah, and to be 2 blocks away, I was just kind of in the mood for chicken parm. So I thought I'd try it. It was good. It wasn't great. And I guess, I had my thoughts that everything I've had at this restaurant is really, really fantastic. So the chicken parm should be good, but it was disappointing. But I'm angling this week. I'm going to go to a place called the Brisket Shop.
Okay.
And the ratings the ratings are 4.9 on a 5-point scale. I've never seen anything ranked 4.9 before.
That's good. That's really good, yeah.
The pictures are exceptional. It's only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it's a drive-through.
Okay.
You buy the food and bring it to wherever you're going to eat it.
Sounds interesting.
Exceptional.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go and get some brisket on Thursday, see how it is.
Okay. It's very exciting.
Entertainment moments, I'm watching Perry Mason.
Right.
And I'm enjoying that. I've watched 2 episodes of that. I'm getting ready to watch the second episode of Yellow Jackets.
Which we are in my house as well tonight. Very excited.
The social media buzz on it is this episode, I guess, is really buzzworthy.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to checking that out. Saturday Night Live this past week Weekend Update was exceptional.
It was. Quinta Brunson was great on that whole show. I mean,
she was really good. But then I guess Michael Che, since it was April Fool's,
yeah,
got a good zinger in on Colin Jost, and it broke them all up, and it was really funny.
It was. No, that was a really good episode of SNL. Just don't. I mean, I think.
Really
I mean, you put Quinta Brunson, who's already a funny comedian. I think that always helps when you have somebody that's already funny that doesn't need to. You don't have to build a sketch around their limitations.
Yeah, she was really good. She was really good.
Well, I watched the Tetris movie with Taylor Egron on Apple TV, and I thought it was outstanding. Really enjoyed it. As I told Mom offline when I talked to her before I spoke to you today, obviously we're a video game family, so all the stuff with Nintendo and Tetris really hit home for me. So I mean, I can't say that would translate for everybody, but gives you the full history of Tetris. Then obviously over exaggerated with some of the crazy, in Russia antics part. But I just think it's a really fun ride. And especially they do that thing where if you've played Tetris, you realize Tetris made it out of Russia and people got the rights and made it other places. So you kind of already know the outcome, but they do an amazing job of keeping it exciting throughout the story. And that's on Apple TV, so.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think so. I need to watch the movie you told me about last week, Knock at the Cabin Door.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I need to check that out.
Yeah. I said there's been a lot of good movies at home stuff.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite place to watch movies.
Late tip-off tonight. That's the only thing I'll caution you on the Connecticut game.
Yeah, I know.
And it really, for you, it's like 8:30 or 8:40.
Yeah, that's still late tip-off, though.
It's still late, but, 9:40 is ridiculous.
Oh, for East Coast. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the NCAA Final Four championship game night. You can throw it on a little early West Coast time. They're not going to freak that far out, I don't think.
No. I agree.
I mean, it'll be nice.
8 o'clock is 5 o'clock. You make plans to go out for happy hour or whatever after work. So
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
I'm sure some people will be disappointed, but especially in 2023, where worst case scenario, you could watch it on your phone at work sneakily until your boss lets you out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, everybody, watch tonight and have a good week.